Hey there. So today is a big day. I want to share it with you. 1 year ago today, Life Moves Wealth Management was born. Happy birthday, Life Moves Wealth Management. And thank you so much for being part of this birthday celebration and also over the past year. I wanted to take a couple of minutes and share a couple of things with you about the firm, where it's been, and more importantly, where it's heading, and how that matters to you and what you should expect. Of course, a lot's happened over the past year, not only in the markets and the economy and global politics and all of that stuff, but for many of you, a lot's happened in your life in the past year. And that's why I called the firm Life Moves Wealth Management. That's why I chose the name. I actually wrote down a lot of different things on a piece of paper one night out on the patio and did some Google searching and learned that almost everything that I thought I would call the firm was taken. So Life Moves just seemed to make sense. It's active. It actually is a verb for what's happening for you and in your life. Things are always moving, and even the logo, which several of you gave me feedback on and helped create, the logo expresses that. It's if I can get it straight there, it's movement. It's up and down. It's moving forward, and I like the name. I'm fond of it. I like the logo. Fond of that too. Let's shift a little bit and talk about you. So I want to say first and foremost to clients of Life Moves Wealth Management, thank you so much for your continued patience and trust, especially through the transition. You all had a choice, and I was so fortunate and blessed that you decided to take this journey with me. So thank you so much for being patient through that transition. It was a weird couple of weeks, and we got through it, and now we're a year ahead of it. So thank you for that. Literally none of this could have existed without all of you who moved with me. So thank you again. I also want to say that I appreciate your patience and trust given the conditions that we've been navigating for the past year for certain. Actually a little bit longer. It's been probably about 18 months or so that we've been in just weird markets and a lot of weird things happening. And so we're navigating that as best we can. And I certainly appreciate your patience as we all figure out the best way to control what we can control, and so that we can absorb all the things that we can't control that are being thrown at us. I also want to just take a minute to say thank you to all the clients who have joined since the transition and since Life Moves Wealth Management was born. Many of you who are new to the firm were brought in by somebody who was already a client of the firm, and so it's such a great testament to how much you value the work that we do when you bring somebody that you care about into the firm and have them work with us. So thank you so much, all of you, for being part of this journey. Thank you for believing in the work that I do, and thank you for believing in the work that we do together. We're going to continue to do great work. Now, my biggest takeaway over the past year, in a word, is resilience. And it's taken a lot of resilience to be where we are today. It takes a lot of resilience to start a business like this one and run it as a solo practitioner, which I'm planning to expand over the coming year or two. And so that takes resilience to grow the firm to a point where you can expand and pay people well and do all the things that a good business does. It takes a lot of resilience on your side and on my side to stay focused when there's so much changing all around us. The other takeaway is that in the nature of the word resilience is that there's two common questions that just about every client has asked this year. And the first question is, if this thing happens, whatever the thing is in your life, but if it happens, or if I make this decision, number one, am I going to be financially okay? And then number two, what do I do next? Now, maybe you didn't use those exact words, but that's what I hear you expressing. And I hear that time and time again in our meetings. In the past year, because of all the challenges and the things that have moved in our lives, I think it's important that we work through and continue to work through those two questions. And so here's how we're going to do that. To help us continue down that road, working through those questions, seeking the right answers, I've added 3 key pieces of technology to the firm, which most of you are already using. And the first one is a robust client portal through the My Advisor link, and that's powered by a company called AdviseOn. The great thing about the client portal is it's available on both mobile and web. I love that it gives you full transparency into the investment strategy. You can see everything that's happening in your investment account. You can see when dividends are paid. You can see how it's invested. You can see what the performance is on a daily basis. You can see how it compares to other indexes in the market. You can see fees. You can see cost. You can see everything right there in the app. And that transparency is incredibly important to me. So I'm so grateful that you have it now. The other cool thing is that it pulls all your data from Schwab. And so you don't actually have to do anything at Schwab. You can do it all in the client portal, including pull your statements for your monthly account statements, and you can also pull your tax statements right from the client portal. And then finally, it offers a client vault, which allows you and I to share secure documents back and forth without going through email servers or anything like that, and we can store the documents there as well. So it's a great place to have a little extra digital storage and also to make sure that we're keeping your confidential information safe. The second tool that I added was the risk monitoring tool powered by a company called Riskalyze. You'll remember going through the 5 or 6 question, if you could make this much money but maybe lose this much money, would you be comfortable? Remember that thing? And it gave you a speed limit sign. That tool has been incredibly helpful to help me understand how you are approaching risk and how you think about risk as it relates to investments. And then, of course, having that speed limit sign, it helps me make sure that your risk comfort is aligned with how your accounts are invested. And I think that's been way more helpful than just saying, are you conservative, are you moderate, or are you aggressive? We can actually dial that in specifically to you and then have ongoing conversations about how that's working based on changes in the market and changes in your life. It's also been very helpful to me to understand how the recommended investments that I give you track and what their risk is and how they're scheduled to perform and what their costs are and all of that. So the goal there is to continue to build investment portfolios that are cost efficient and ensure that I am making good decisions on your behalf with your money. So you trust me with those decisions, and I want to be sure that I have all of the evidence-based work that I need to do to give you some assurance that we're making good decisions and for you to feel comfortable there. The final tool, and this is the one that I'm most excited about, just launched earlier this year, is the financial health monitoring. It's powered by a company called Elements. I've been so happy with this smart piece of technology. It's currently only on your mobile app. We're working with the company to get something that's available on the web as well. But the thing I love about it is that when we get it fully integrated, it shows you on a day-by-day basis your financial progress. We're calling that financial health, but it's really your financial progress. It gives us 12 different indicators to look at, and on a monthly basis, I am looking at those, and it allows me to be more proactive, especially on the financial planning side. But it's also more helpful to help you answer questions like, if this happens, what do I do? Am I going to be okay? And then what do I do next? It helps us answer those in real time. And most importantly, it gives me a 1-page financial plan that I can deliver to you. And it has only the most important information, including all of the 12 key indicators, but it also includes your statement of financial purpose, which has been a lot of fun to craft with all of you. It gives you the goals that you've set for the upcoming, usually 12 months is what we're looking at. And then it gives you right on the same sheet of paper the next steps that we've established as being important for helping you reach those goals. So this has been a wonderful tool. It's kind of revolutionized the way that I think about financial planning. And it's something that I'm really, really glad to have on board with the firm. And I'm glad that so many of you have embraced it as well. I am working on adding one more piece of technology to the firm, and that piece of technology will be purely designed to help us answer tax questions. A lot of you have said, hey, I'm having a hard time getting in touch with a CPA, or I'm having a hard time finding a good CPA, or I just need this question answered, but they're not responding to my email, or something like that. That happens from time to time. or simply you just have questions that we can answer and then have the CPA certify throughout the year. And those things, when those questions come up, they're around things like Roth conversions, when to sell company stock if you've received any grants or restricted stock units, projected capital gains and losses from real estate or from investments or from other assets that you have. If you're going to buy and sell them, you want to know what the tax impact is going to be, filing status, when to make charitable distributions, tax effective RMDs, charitable contributions. All of that, we'll be able to model that, send it off to your CPA, let them check it off and make sure that they agree with the numbers. And it's going to do a lot more. So I'm really excited about this tool. It's going to be kind of the next level. So many of my clients have tax questions, and I'm super excited to be able to answer those in a tax planning format. I'm not replacing your CPA. I'm not going to file your taxes for you, but we are going to be able to do strategic tax planning with the help of this tool. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, coming down to the end here, so thanks for your patience in watching this video. I want to talk a little bit about fees or costs that are associated with doing business with Life Moves Wealth Management. So a year ago, when I decided to launch the firm, and you might remember I went into a quiet period. I couldn't actually talk very much to anybody for about 5 or 6 weeks. I couldn't answer questions. I couldn't make changes in your portfolio. During that period of time, I was doing a lot of work to get ready for the launch. And part of that work was I have a compliance team that I consult with, and they help me make sure that all the regulatory stuff is in the right order on an ongoing basis. Literally every week I spend about a half hour or so doing compliance type work. So 1 year ago, I was working with them. We needed to put together the information for state regulatory approval. One of the things that the state regulators really spend a lot of time looking at is the cost associated with a client doing business with the firm. So they want to know what's charged, how often it's charged, and what are the criteria for when fees are charged. And as I detailed the structure that I already had in place, I just kind of became a little uncomfortable for a couple of reasons. Number one is the first thing is that there were two separate fees, and for some of you there still are. One of them is the cost for me to manage your investments, and the other is the cost for us to do financial planning. The challenge with that is that many people come in and they need the help on the investments, and I like to do investment work through the lens of financial planning, because most of the investment work that we do, when we actually look at the decisions we make, it will impact your cash flow, it will impact your risk planning, it will impact your retirement planning, it impacts your tax planning, it impacts your estate planning, and then finally your investment planning. And then it impacts your net worth. So we cover all 7 areas of financial planning just with doing one investment question. So think of the question, hey Dale, how much should I be contributing to my 401k? You just asked me a question that should be simple, but it actually touches all 7 areas of financial planning. So why aren't we doing financial planning work together? Well, the reason why is for some clients, financial planning, because it's a separate fee, looks like an add-on service. And you look at it and you go, gee, that looks kind of expensive. I don't want to pay an extra fee, all that fun stuff. I also felt like the guidelines for how the fees were charged, especially on financial planning and who fit into what bucket, was a little bit loose, difficult to interpret. It felt kind of maybe subjective to the person. It felt subjective to me. So I wanted to tighten that down. I believe going forward in the industry, I think less people are going to want to be charged a percentage of the investments that I manage. I've heard that from several of you. I've heard that from several people that I've talked to over the past few weeks in particular. And charging based on how much money I manage is not attractive. And so there should be a different way to do that. And then finally, I see some inherent conflicts of interest when money is managed as a percentage of what we are working with or what you have invested. You remember when I launched the firm, I elected to go on a fee-only basis. And what that means is that I cannot charge commissions for any of the work I do. So nothing from mutual funds, no insurance, sales commissions, no special incentives, none of that stuff. I can't take anything from any private company. The only person who can pay me for any services is you, the client, directly. And I like that because it removes some of the questions about what the incentive is for anything that I advise you to do. So that question's out of the way. Fee only is the way that I went. And to continue solving that problem, I also felt like it was important to move to more of a flat fee for service model, or a flat cost for service model. So what this does is effectively consolidates the two costs and the two different fees into one, and we set that based on your financial complexity. And the most important thing that it does is this. When I talk to clients, many of them who we do investment work and financial planning, we do the whole thing on purpose. I ask them, how much time do we spend talking about all the other things that are happening in your life and the decisions that you're making versus how much time we talk about the investments and the strategy? And the answer comes back almost aligned with the Pareto rule, which if you remember is just the 80-20 rule. That's the short version of it. And most clients are saying 10, 15, maybe 20% on investments, and we spend about 80% on everything else. So it doesn't make sense in my mind to, number one, have the bulk of what you're paying for be represented by your investments and not the actual advice, which is really what people want, the guidance. The whole investment thing, nobody has a lock on a better investment strategy. Some people can pick better stocks or better things for a period of time, but in the aggregate, over a good year, 2, 5 years, all investment strategies actually end up about the same, and they usually will slightly trail the S&P 500, and that's because you're diversified. So you're going to have things that are not in the S&P 500, so that's not even a good comparison. But as a comparison that people make, that's usually the way it works. The second thing is, even though the market is down, and it will go back up, it's actually started to improve this year. Little by little, the market is going up. I'm not sure that I'm comfortable getting a raise just because the market continues to go up if I'm being charged a percentage, or if I'm charging you a percentage of what I'm managing on your behalf. So every time the market goes up and your account value goes up, I get paid more. And I'm not sure that that is in your best interest. So I want to remove that. As I said, I firmly believe that this is the direction that the financial services profession is going. It's a shift in your mindset. You've got to think about the shift from paying for financial products and investments to paying for financial advice that includes how you invest. You know, the other thing is that it's a little difficult because we have to think differently about the way it looks. And so a lot of times you're not really paying attention to what amount of money that you're paying in fees when it's just charged to your investment account versus if you see the full number. It can still be charged to your investment account, but it's just going to look different. It's going to feel different when you approach it. And what I would say is that in business, which most of you are, as you know, price matters most in the absence of value, and it matters the least when value is tangible. And so I'm working to make that value far more tangible for each of you. And I spend a lot of times figuring out the best ways to communicate and demonstrate that value. And I think that this is a big step in that direction. So if you haven't transitioned yet to the flat fee for services, let's talk about that at your next meeting, and let's explore what the best possible situation is for you. I do want to say that you are not required to make a change. If it will cost you less to stay on the fee that you're currently on, then let's look at that. And let's make sure that we're doing the right thing for you, and then we'll figure out the best way to graduate that over time as you add the additional services to complement the work that we're doing for investments. Because I got to tell you, there's a lot of times that I see things happen with investing if we don't do financial planning together. There's a lot of questions that I have, and because we don't have a financial planning arrangement, I can't ask or even answer those kinds of questions. And I just know that there's work and there's value that I can provide to you that you're just not getting. So let's start doing more of that work together. So for the next year, The vision that I have for the firm is to continue to create an experience that's meaningful for you. It's worth sharing with others, because we all know people who are going through changes in their lives, like births of loved one, deaths of loved one, divorces. They're buying a second home, buying a first home, starting or growing a business, wanting to send their children to college, wondering how in the world it's going to be possible for you to retire, trying to take care of your aging parents and your college kids while also taking care of yourself. There's a lot of things that are happening, and you're asking two questions. If this happens, will I be okay financially? And then what do I do next? And if I've helped you answer those questions in your life, I'd be honored to talk to the people that you care about. So please share your experience and please introduce them to me. It would be my honor as a service to you to help the people who are most important in your life. All of this work that we're doing is designed with you in mind. I want to be a resource to you. I want to increase your financial literacy, and I want to increase your confidence in what we're doing, even when things continue to be uncertain for the next period of however long things are uncertain, which I kind of think is going to be always. So let's keep doing this work together. So we have a lot of great work ahead of us. I'm so grateful to be part of your financial journey, and I'm wishing you very much success in the year ahead. Cheers to us. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching this. Take care.